Welcome to CrashMagic. In this video we're going to take a look at the trick multiple mind reading. Very often in card tricks you're just interacting directly with one spectator and everyone else is watching. This trick allows you to actively involve and read the minds of a number of spectators. The magician deals one card to each of 5 spectators. The magician then hands the cards to a spectator, asks if they'd like to shuffle them and if they could complete the deal, dealing a total of 5 cards to each spectator. The magician tells the spectator that they can deal the cards in any order that they like, as long as each spectator has 5 cards in total. Once this is done, the rest of the cards are put to the side and the magician asks each of the spectators if they'd like to shuffle their pile of cards. All of the spectators shuffle their cards and give them a good mix. Once this is done, the magician asks the spectators if they could each take their pile of cards, have a look at them, remember just one card, give their card a mix, and then put them back on the table when they'd finished. As each spectator had finished remembering their card, shuffling their pile and putting it back on the table, the magician started to pick the piles up in the order that they were finished. Next, the magician started dealing out the cards into 5 columns. Once all the dealing was complete, the magician asked the first spectator which column their card was in. The first spectator indicated to this column here. The magician thought for a while and then indicated that he thought their card was the 8 of hearts. The first spectator was amazed. Then the second spectator was asked which column their card was in. They showed that their card was also in the same column. So immediately the magician knew it wasn't the 8 of hearts. Still, it could be 4 cards. The magician chose the Queen of Spades, and the second spectator confirmed this was right. Next, spectator 3. Spectator 3 showed the magician that their card was in this column here. The magician thought for a while and then pointed to one card. Spectator 3 confirmed that that was indeed the card that they had thought of. The magician then asked Spectator 4 which column their card was in. Spectator 4 hunted for their card and indicated to the magician that it was in this column here. The magician thought and pointed to the Ace of Clubs. Spectator 4 confirmed that that was their card. The magician then turned to the final spectator and asked them which column their card was in. They showed that it was in this column. The magician thought carefully once again and suddenly indicated that they thought their card was the 9 of diamonds. Spectator 4 confirmed this was correct. So I hope you enjoyed that performance of multiple mind reading, and here's the tutorial now showing you how this trick's done. It's a nice easy one to learn again. There's no sleight of hand needed, it's self-working, and there's just a small amount of setup just at the very start. So as I said, you can do this trick with a number of spectators. You just need enough cards so that each spectator has 5 each. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 spectators all work well. I think 5 spectators is probably the optimum number, just because you'll see when we deal the cards out. But yeah, it can work with any number of spectators. So let me show you as if we've got 5 spectators. So the only setup you need is at the top of the pack. If you've got 5 spectators, you need 5 key cards. It doesn't matter what these cards are. The only thing that's important is that you can remember what these key cards are, and that you can, in your head, align them with a spectator. So this would be the card for spectator 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So I tend to use the 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 of diamonds. If I'd only got 4 spectators, I'd just use the 2, 4, 6 and 8. If I'd got 6 spectators, I'd use 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 and probably the queen of diamonds. But again, you can use any card. You can use ace, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can use different suits as well. It doesn't matter as long as you remember the 5 key cards and which card is for spectator 1, 2, 3, 4, however many spectators you've got. So as I say, 5 spectators, we are going to use the 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 of diamonds. These go on top of our pack with the 2 of diamonds first. And that's the only setup. We are now ready to begin our trick. So first thing we do is we're going to deal 1 pile of cards to each of our spectators. So I'll start by dealing 1 to spectator 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And of course what this is doing is dealing the respective key card to each spectator, the 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 of diamonds. At this point what I normally do is then say to one of the spectators, actually, do you want to continue dealing these cards? They're then free to take the cards, give them a shuffle if they like, and if you just tell them to keep dealing cards so that each spectator has 5 cards each, they are free to deal the cards however they like. So they could deal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for that one, 1 here, 1 here, it doesn't make any difference. Right, let's finish this and make sure everyone's got 5. There we go. The rest of the pack we don't need then, and we can put that to the side. So then you say to the spectators, can you keep your piles face down, but you just want to all give them a thorough mix. So each spectator will take their pile and give them a good mix. They can do this however they want. They can just mix them in the hand like this, or try and do some sort of shuffle with 5 cards. It makes no difference, and that's the important thing that they need to know, is that they seemingly have 5 random cards and they're in any order. Next, you asked all the spectators to take their cards and have a look at them. Don't show them anyone else. Obviously don't show them the magician, and don't show them each other. And you want them to just remember one of their cards. Make sure they remember it clearly. They can then give their cards a mix up and put them back on the table. So let's see what cards we're going to remember. I want some that are easy for me to remember for this tutorial. So let's say the first spectator happens to choose the key card, which of course they can choose any of these cards and they don't know that card is in any way special. So let's say the first spectator chooses the 2 of diamonds and they put their cards back down. Second spectator picks their cards up. Let's say they choose Jack of diamonds. They give their cards a mix and put them back down on the table. Third spectator, let's say they choose the Ace of Hearts. Let's give these cards a mix and put them back down. Fourth spectator, let's say they choose the 3 of clubs. Give these cards a mix, put them back down, and the final spectator, let's say they choose the Queen of clubs, and they give their cards a mix and put them back down. Now of course all the spectators are doing this at the same time, so one might finish before the other. So once they've looked at their cards, remembered one, shuffled them and put them back down, I then start picking them up. And I just pick them up in the order that they put them down, whichever spectator puts them down first. And again, this is quite a nice thing, I think, rather than wait until they've all finished, they're all down, and then you pick up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in that order. It doesn't matter what order you pick them up, so I tend to pick them up as each spectator finishes. Okay, once you've done that, it's at this point I normally reiterate what's happened so far in the trick. So with each spectator was dealt 5 cards, and that one of the spectators was able to shuffle and deal the cards. Each spectator has picked up their cards, and they've just thought of one card. They haven't picked a card, they haven't put a card in a certain position, they've just thought of it in their head, and nobody knows what card they've picked other than themselves. They then shuffled their little pack, put it back down, and here we are, we've got all the cards together. So then we need to deal the cards out into 5 columns. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And irrelevant how many spectators you're doing this trick with, you always deal them out into 5 columns. Obviously, depending on how many spectators you've got and how many cards you've got, you then might end up with more rows. But yeah, always 5 columns. So we deal these out as so. So then we say to our first spectator, can you tell me which column your card is in? So in this instance, their card was the 2 of diamonds, so they'll say, my card was in this column. Now all you're doing for this trick is looking for their key card. So their key card was the 2 of diamonds. They've said their card is in this column. So you can say to them, I think your card was the 2 of diamonds. Okay, next spectator, spectator 2. So immediately when we think of spectator 2, we think 4 of diamonds. So we say to the second spectator, which column is your card in? And in this instance, I believe they picked the Jack of diamonds, so they will say, my card's in this column as well. So obviously you can play around a little bit here and say, oh well, that's good because the last spectator picked this card, so I know yours is only 1 of 4 cards. That makes it a bit easier. So what you do, you know their card's in this column, and you know spectator 2 is the 4 of diamonds, so you look down for the 4 of diamonds, go across, and you know this was their card, so you can reveal that to them. Spectator 3, so again, as soon as you think spectator 3, you think 6 of diamonds. So you know immediately their card is either this one, this one, this one, this one, or this one. So of course, if they say my card was in this row, you can say to them, well, your card was the 7 of clubs. I can't remember if that was their card, actually, the 7 of clubs, or did they pick the ace? You see how the trick works anyway. So fourth spectator, so you think 8 of diamonds. Of course, obviously you don't point this out in a way, you just look for the 8 of diamonds, so you know their card is one of these. You say to them, which column is your card in? They say it's this column, so you say you think and pretend to consider which is their card, and then of course say, I think you would have gone for the 7 of diamonds. Fourth spectator is the 10 of diamonds, so again you ask them which column theirs is in. I think they picked the Queen of clubs if I'm right, so they would then say my card's in this column. So again you would look, again you could say, well, I know it's not that one because that was the last spectator, so your card must have been one of these. I think you would have chosen the Queen of clubs. So that's the end of the tutorial, and I hope you've enjoyed that. As I say, it's a nice, easy one to learn and do, but it really is a good trick, because the fact you can involve so many spectators at the same time, and the fact that they choose a card without even touching it, without picking it out of the pack, without putting it in a certain position, or without giving you the pack and you manipulate it and, you know, change the position of their cards. They've just done it purely by thought, and yet you're able to identify which card they selected. Of course, as we now know, by the fact you're using key cards to do that. Well, that's the end of my video. If you liked it, please like it and subscribe. If you've got any comments, leave them down below, and see you soon.